And again, we've got a decent little group here to get started. So here we are at almost at the top of the hour. And there we are. So good morning, everybody, and welcome to AM Carrier Net. My name is Joe. My call is N1VIV, and I'm located in Stonington, Connecticut. The AM Carrier Net meets every Sunday morning at 8 a.m. local time here on 3835 on the 75-meter band. The AM Carrier Net was established for the purpose of promoting and enjoying operations in the AM mode. It's a casual net, so there's no requirement to check in other than being able to operate in the AM mode. We certainly like to hear from new stations who might be just beginning to explore interest in operating AM, whether you're trying to resurrect an old boat anchor or maybe trying to get a more modern radio to sound good on AM. On any given Sunday, there's a whole host of participants here with knowledge and information to that end, so all are welcome. Please join in. The format of the net is to take check-ins here at the top of the hour, and then if there's check-ins during round one, we'll tack those folks in at the end of round one, and if there's check-ins after that, we'll try to work folks in as we go. Certainly want to let people know if for whatever reason, if you're on a short timeline or maybe conditions allow, we're certainly happy to float folks to the top if that strategically or logistically makes sense. So just let me know when you check in or if you want to recheck with the float to the top. That's absolutely fine as well. And also want to just mention to folks that there is a net that precedes our net called the 3838 Breakfast Club, and of course they're on frequency of 3838, so we'd ask folks to please hold off on any tuning or pre-net activities here on 3835 until we confirm that the 3838 Breakfast Club has concluded. As the shorter days are upon us here, conditions allow that they generally have more check-ins, and as we get further into the fall, their 73 rounds stretches probably a little closer to 730, which is absolutely fine, and we want to, be accommodating. So we may need to just kind of hold off until a little bit later. Maybe a month ago it was maybe 7 o'clock or 10 after, and now it's kind of working toward the bottom of the hour. So just please try to be thoughtful and conscious of that net so that we can keep some good cross-mode relationships going. It's certainly a good group of guys, and we want to steer clear of tuning up on 35, as Al had referenced earlier, until the net concludes. So let's see if there's anything else. No, I don't think so. So we've got a nice group in here. And just to acknowledge the last couple of stations, of course, we had Andy in there, and then Paul, WA3VJB, and Ross has checked in and out. So let's see if there's any additional check-ins, any stations anywhere wishing to check into the AM Carrier Net. Please call now. This is N1VIV. Well, nothing heard there, but we do have a nice group assembled already. I'll just give it a minute here and give one more check, and then we'll carry on. It does seem like we've got some good fall conditions here, so very grateful for that. Just as a mention, I did hear guys on the Breakfast Club mentioning a lot of activity on 12 and 10 meters. So I thought that was interesting, and I'll have to go and check that out for myself, I think, at some point when I don't have as many projects going on and stuff that needs to get done. But has not been a lot of time for radio time, but that's okay. So anyway, let's give another listen just in case. Any additional check-ins for the AM Carrier Net, please call now.
Joe, I'm starting to lose you, so you might move me up a little bit.
Oh, sure. Wow. Okay. Well, I guess when conditions start to shift, they do shift, so I'm happy to move you up a little bit, Paul. Why don't we put you in We'll put you in right after Steve, K2FW, because he's down your way, and you'll certainly hear him. There's no question about that, but excellent. So it's WA3VJB. Okay. I'll just need to make sure I see that when I'm reading down the list. Excellent. Okay, one more listen just in case. Any other check-ins for the net, please call now.
Yeah, Joe. Paul's only, he's marginal here. He's about, maybe only about 50 dB over 9.
Yeah, that's kind of what I thought. Wow, something looks odd. Let me look at this transmitter. Oh, wow, I'm very sorry. Something was not right. I don't know if you guys saw any difference there, but... My apologies for the quick tuning, but boy, that looks a lot better on the modulation monitor. I was looking at it saying, like, goodness, something's not right here. There's just a little mistuned on the 59 special here, but I think that's better. So apologies for that. Something was not correct. But I think we're squared away now. Yeah, very good. Yeah, Paul is quite strong down to you, Steve, I'm sure. Okay, not hearing any additional check-ins. Let's run down the list. I didn't hear Fred this morning, so hopefully he's doing okay. And I'm sure we would have heard him, you know, with the current conditions, had he been in there. So, okay, pens and pencils at the ready. Here's the rundown for round 1. I'll get things started with some comments, and then I'm going to send it to Chris. AJ1G. AJ1G would send it to Steve, K2FW. K2FW would send it down to Paul, WA3VJB. And WA3VJB would send it over to Al, W1VTP. W1VTP would send it to Jeff, WA2RAS. And WA2RAS would send it down to Bill, WF1L. WF1L would send it to Bruce, WX10 up there in Vermont. And WX10 would send it to Chet, K1ZRS in Warwick, Rhode Island. K1ZRS would send it to Jerry, W1ZB. And W1ZB would send it over to Dan, WA1QZX. In Chelmsford, I think it is. WA1QZX would send it to Andy, WA2CDL. And because we've moved Paul up and Ross has checked out, Andy, you're kind of in that bottom of the list position for right now. But I imagine we'll probably have a few other check-ins. And if there's any other check-ins, Andy, we're going to put them in after you. And if not, it'll come back up to the top of the list for me for a go at round 2. So there's our rundown for round 1. And good morning all the way around to everybody. Not too much exciting to report here, other than most of the stuff I already mentioned in the pre-net. All right, not much else to report. Let's move it on down. I guess, Steve, I'm sending it to you, and I am hopeful that maybe Bob would have the opportunity to get that ART-13 back on the air. So I've got my fingers crossed on his behalf, and hopefully he can get functional with that transmitter. That would be really great. So let's get it down to southern New Jersey. And I guess I don't know if you've heard from Dick at all. I don't think we heard him. I didn't hear him check in this morning, but I hope he's doing well. K2FW. Yeah, here we go for. Oh no, What am I doing? I'm very sorry. I am putting out my eyes drawn to Steve's call, and that is not correct. I am sending it to Chris down the block. My apologies, Chris. I'm not looking to bypass you. No trouble. So let's get it over to you, Chris, down the block, and then it goes to Steve, and then on down the list. AJ1G. And the round one of the AM carrier net. Take it away. This is N1VIV.
Yeah, okay, Joe. No problem. N1VIV and the AM carrier net. AJ1G, just up the street from Joe. Here in the fine old town of Stonington, Connecticut, on the DX100 this morning. And, yeah, okay, everything seems to be looking copacetic here on it. Yeah, it's cloudy. I'm a little disappointed. It's cloudy out, Joe. But I think it's I'm going to take responsibility for any of the rain we have here in this part of New England because, like I mentioned in the pre-net, thanks to my sons Dave and Ben, I had a recent birthday here and just turned 70, and I got a call the other day saying, "Hey, guess what? Don't make any plans for Sunday because Sunday at 1 o'clock you have to be up in North Kingstown to pick up a 1966 Ford Mustang convertible rental, which you have for 24 hours at your to go wherever you want. No unlimited mileage and have a blast. And that's the courtesy of NewportClassicCarRental.com. In fact, I sent an email to a few of the guys on the list here that were here on the pre-net. Joe and Steve. I didn't have Jeff's email. I sent it to Al and Bruce, who were the bunch of guys on when I wrote the email. But if anyone wants to see this car, it's a bright yellow, canary yellow 66 Mustang convertible, and there's some beautiful pictures of it on the www.NewportClassicCarRental.com website. They have some other cars too. They got Aston Martins, Porsches, a 62 T-Bird, and a bunch of really antique things, which they pretty much want you to keep over in Newport for rentals over there. But there's they even rent yachts. They have a side branch that rents space on yachts and like kind of big things for like corporate functions and stuff too. So this is going to be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to it. My first car that I actually bought myself, which I bought in the spring of 1973, was a 67 Mustang convertible. It was 289. It was black. We used to call it the Black Rat because it was very ratty. It was a $500 car with a lot of rust on it. I don't know how a car between 1967 and 1973 could rust out as badly as that thing did. But we patched it up. We had a lot of fun with it. And like 49 years ago this week, I was taking Diane out on our first dates, and it was we met right in the end of September of 73, right at the start of my senior year at the University of Rhode Island.
So that's going to be the order of the day.
And Joe, because of that, we got a bunch to do. I'm going to just be in for one round, and we got to get a bunch of things going here before I leave. And hey, watch that scratchy throat. In all seriousness, Joe, that has. That's exactly how my little bout of COVID and Diane's bout of COVID started. In fact, we met up with, I talked on the phone with some friends of ours that we saw back in May, just before Diane got COVID, and it turns out he did also. The guy, Dave, my friend Dave and his wife Bev, they're from Newport, coincidentally. We met them for dinner one weekend in May, and it turns out Diane came down with COVID, I think, on Wednesday after we met them for dinner, and Dave came down with it on the 2 days earlier, and we may have got it at the Charlestown Rathskeller. Or they may have got it at the Charlestown Rathskeller. Neither I nor his wife, Dave's wife, got it at that time. But anyhow, keep an eye on that sore throat.
That's exactly how mine started.
It's just like a, kind of a dry, scratchy throat feeling, and
Watch out for the fever. I didn't even test positive till
after the fever actually had broken. So hopefully it's not anything, but be careful. So anyhow, it's been great weather. I hope, like I said, I think if there's any rain today, it's all my fault because I'm going to be trying to drive around in a convertible. Andy, good signal up here, and good to hear Dick and Paul. Nice hearing you. I talked to Paul briefly down there in Annapolis on 3885 earlier this morning. Fantastic signal. So let's get it up to Steve, K2FW. I think the Bruins were playing. We're going to have a great week, and we'll see you all next week or on some other nets. Yes, I was going to say, someone was asking about Andy. Well, he's here now. We heard Andy on the Vintage Sideband net on Friday as well. That was fun. I worked with everybody from the Mobile on that one. K2FW and the Vintage, the Vintage Classic AM carrier net, AJ1G in the fine old town of Stonington, Connecticut.
QIX checking in and listening.
K1RJ,
you got that, Steve, Joe?
Yeah, I think somebody else might have been in there as well. Good morning, Steve. Let's see. WA1 QIX. Excellent. And was there another check-in in there?
K1 Romeo Juliet Zulu.
K1 Romeo Juliet Zulu. I know the call sounds familiar. I apologize that your name's not coming up. So I'm going to try to cheat here on QRZ. We've got you in here. So down at the bottom of the list now we've got Dan, WA1QZX, sending it to Steve. WA1QIX, and then it goes over to K1RJZ. And if I can pull that up, I'll be acknowledged. Well, my machine's not cooperating, but we've got you in here, sir. Absolutely. Oh, I know that. I think that, yes, we talked with you last week. I apologize. I should have jotted your name down. My error. So, let's get it over to Steve, and then on down the list, and if anything doesn't make sense, Steve, I'll try to make sense of it. But we've got some stations moving around, which is fine, and we'll carry on. So, K2FW. This is N1VIV in the AM carrier net.
All right, Joe, and I give it to Dick, right?
No, actually, I squeezed Andy in there because he's got to run. So it would be yourself, and then Andy, CDL, Dick, DAP, then to Paul, VJB, and then it goes to Al, VTP, and then on down the list. But like I said, I'll be happy to quickly hand off if need be. Take it away, Steve.
Okay. Well, you really messed my paper up. I got all kinds of scratchy notes there and arrows inserting this guy here and there and everywhere else, but I'm sure it'll all work out in the end. It's K2FW in Southern New Jersey. And a special hi to Paul. Yeah, boy, it's been a long time since I've heard you, but you're very loud here, Paul. Very, very loud and sounding great. Chris, happy birthday to you, number 70. Congratulations, and the Mustang sounds really, really neat. That sounds terrific. like I said, I had quite a few Mustangs in my day. I had a 67 and a 69 and the 66 convertible. Sounds terrific. You mentioned a 62 T-Bird as one of the cars that you can rent as well. I had one of those. I think I had a 390 in it, big V8, big block V8, and I never enjoyed the way that car handled, though. Never handled well. And I think it had a very short wheelbase. But the Mustangs were great cars, very easy, simple to work on, and boy, it's those days are never going to come back. Those days were the prime days of the muscle car era, I guess you could call it. But really brought back memories when you're talking about that, Chris. Let's see, not a whole lot going on here. I have, Joe, you mentioned some of the higher frequency bands, 10 and 12. I haven't been real active this past week, but I did get on a couple times for a little bit here and there. And there has been some, at least CW anyway, contacts on 10, 12, and 15's been very, very good. 15's been open pretty much every day. A lot of nice signals out to the west coast and over to across the pond and all that kind of stuff. There was also some mention about the latest hurricane, I guess Ian. Boy, the tropics were really, really quiet through July, August, and into this month until just this past week, and looks like things are heating up a little bit. And now they've been moving it farther and farther west, it looks like every day. It looks like this particular hurricane that's down in the Caribbean now may make landfall somewhere in the panhandle of Florida. At least it's been going in that direction. Of course, things can change for sure. Earlier they had it go across the peninsula of Florida, but now it looks like it's going more to the panhandle. But who knows? The steering currents can always change and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, I count 16 check-ins here today, and let me say hello to Not Quite Normal Steve, if he's listening down in Florida through the internet, KB2NQN. We certainly miss him. And yeah, I've been getting some of the emails from Bob, W1GTH as well, and at least it sounds hopeful now, Joe. So he's got the filaments lit on the modulator tubes in his transmitter now, and hopefully the thing works. And it's been, I bet you, I never wrote down the date where the last time he's been on, but I would certainly think it's been about a year. So hopefully he can get back on again. Missing Jim, WA2MER here today. So let me get it over to Andy, and we'll say 73 is all the way around. Paul, great to hear you on again. And over to you, Andy, WA2CDL in the AM carrier. I almost said vintage sideband, that too, Chris. Over to Andy, WA2CDL in the AM carrier net from K2 Fuzzy Wuzzy. Take it away, Andy.
Okay, Steve, very good, thank you. WA2CDL and the AM carrier net, and good morning to all. I'm still using my ICOM 756 solid-state radio, so bear with the poor quality audio that I have, but condition is really good.
Some of you guys are doing really well. Steve, I'm copying you stronger than I've ever heard you. Almost 40 over 9, believe it or not, on the meter of the 75 S3. And Joe, you're peaking up to 20, so you're doing fine as well. But you guys are fighting a tremendously high noise level here, and congratulations on my ability to be able to copy it. So running about a kilowatt here. Nice to say hello to everybody. It's a gloomy but warm day today. I'll be in the 70s here in Port Washington, New York. All interesting stuff all the way around, and a good participation in that. So I'm not going to hold it. I'm going to turn it over to Paul, but I just wanted to check in, say hello to everybody, and looking forward to the time when I'm not dealing with this noise level, and probably when we get into October, things will be a lot easier to copy here. WA2VJB to take it with the AM carrier net from Dick W2DAP. Go ahead, Paul.
Okay, yeah, it's right there at the margin, Dick, even with your power level. It's not very strong here at Annapolis right now as the sun comes up higher in the sky. W2DAP and the AM carrier net. Thank you, WA3VJB, making a transmission. Very good morning to everyone so far. Steve, yeah, boy, you got the channel master status this morning here at Annapolis. And very good on your 62 T-Bird. I wanted to mention that. My mom has a 1969 Ford Mercury, Lincoln Mercury, Marquis. And it's got a 429 dual exhaust and Positraction. And my brother is presently fixing it up to get it back on the road in style. So you guys will probably like to get an update on that the next time you run across me here on the band. Let me answer the question. When he gets it on the road, it's a convertible besides. So that's great. And Chris, at the nut of all that, congratulations on your 70th birthday and the '66 Mustang rental. That'll be really a nice way to celebrate. This morning I crossed paths with Chris, AJ1G, on the Florida AM net, also known as the Warren Ellie Memorial Net. A lot of you on frequency will remember the late Warren Ellie, W1GUD, who started out in New England and moved to Tampa Bay, Florida, many years ago, and the net is named after him. I expressed my concern to the net control of the Florida AM net for the Gulf Coast hurricane that's coming their way, and that I sure wish they're the best for them, that they don't get a lot of damage from that as it continues to come in the next few days. Hello to Bruce, WX10. I take it you're up in New England rather than on Maryland's eastern shore. And I wanted to draw some attention to some other band activity, very good on 15 and 10 meters opening from time to time. But if you haven't listened, 40 meters daytime has also been excellent, from about 72.85 all the way to the top. You'll get 2 and 3 AM QSOs at a time, roundtables, with everybody having really, really good signals. Been hanging out there daytime to see what's going on and catching up with a lot of people I haven't talked with in a long time. So that's about the gist of it. I'm going to pass it to Al and hope that you're copying me as the sun comes up. Consider this a one and done, as I imagine my signal will start to fade down into the noise. And great to hear everybody on. Joe, thanks for hosting the net, and good to get back in the logbook there. W1VTP and the AM carrier net from WA3VJB Annapolis.
Oh, hey. Good morning, all. W1VTP here. And I totally confused net control, so I'm going to have to give it back to you because I had a line up here, but then it got totally screwed up. And when you came to my call sign, you said from there on. And so I don't know who I turned it over to. So anyway, good morning to all. I finally got my Flex 5000 back on the air, and I'm using it on sideband. I could very well use it. I could have used it this morning, in fact, on this frequency, but I prefer the Class E station, and I don't know why I am putting out so much. It seems to me that something's wrong. I don't know what, but I'm really putting out quite a bit here. I may curtail. I don't understand what's going on. Swear is okay, and well, if I back off the microphone, even so. Well, let me do this. Maybe that'll help. I can see. I really need to get a hold of Dan and talk to him about. There we go. That's back into control. So I'm pinch hitting with the DBX 286, and it's been such a long time since I've used it that I really don't know what I'm doing. Anyway, let's see what else. Oh, Nearfest is October 14 and 15. And I know we all have things going on in our lives, but I have informed the family that I don't care what happens short of a death in the family. I'm going to go to Nearfest. I haven't missed a session yet, and this is the only time you get to go and shop around. But that's those things that you don't have in the shack, and you need. I always thought there's a guy, there's one building, there's a guy that has a collection of old-time Amphenol connectors, UHF connectors, and I always stop by his table and collect a few more. The stuff that the Far East is making is junk. What they do on, like, for example, the right angles, is they have the two pins, and then they connect them with a spring, a very light-duty spring. And they'll last for a little time, but they won't last for very long. So it's really important to get that. I don't understand why I am having such a problem with my power. This doesn't seem right. So I'm going to keep it short then. I give them my 2 bits of information. Got the Flex 5000 on the air, and the Nearfest is October 14 and 15, and I hope to see you there. I will be there. I won't take the trike this time, though, because I found that I wounded myself. The wound is still there from last spring on my leg because the sprocket is unguarded, and it's too much of a job to offload and unload, offload and reload the thing, and plus it puts me too close to the ground, and it's a little bit of an effort to get in and out of that thing. So I probably won't take it this year. I'll just take the car over, and I have 3 parking places that I move the car to, so that with my walking disability, I can still navigate around the fairgrounds. So having said that, I'm going to turn it back to net control, because I've got a list here, but I don't think it's right. So back to net control, W1 VTP.